115 people, an entire settlement, men, women, and innocent children, vanished into thin air. No bodies were ever found, not a single drop of blood, not even the sound of a struggle. Only one thing was left behind, a single word carved into a wooden post, Croatoan. But here's the most terrifying part. These people didn't run away in fear. They didn't flee from an enemy. They chose to disappear. When Governor John White returned after 3 long years, what he saw defied all logic. I'm your host, and here at the Dark Files, we dive deep into the world's most chilling mysteries through intensive research. If you crave real, deep dive investigations, subscribe now. Because today, we are uncovering a truth that has been buried beneath the dirt for over 4 centuries. This is the story of the Vanishing colony, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. In the late 1500s, England and Spain were locked in a silent war. A war fought across every ocean. Queen Elizabeth I gave Walter Raleigh a secret mission: establish a strategic base in America. But this wasn't just a settlement. It was a high-stakes operation, a vantage point for England to watch and strike Spanish treasure ships. More than 100 souls were gambling with their lives. But there was one fatal mistake everyone ignored. This land was not empty. People already lived here, and to them, these newcomers were not guests. They were invaders. In 1584, Roanoke Island was chosen. The reports called it the perfect spot: fertile land, hidden location, strategic advantage. But the reality was a disaster. In 1585, the first colony was born, and almost immediately, tragedy struck. Their main flagship, the Tiger, crashed into dangerous sandbanks. The food supplies, the seeds, everything was destroyed by the salt water. In an instant, their foundation was gone. And when survival is at stake, humanity is the first thing to break. Now, their lives depended on the very people. They refused to understand. Hunger turned into desperation. Desperation turned into hate. A tiny spark, the theft of a single silver cup, led to a brutal retaliation. The English burned an entire native village to the ground. That day, the war didn't just begin, it became inevitable. But the most horrific mistake was yet to come. History calls it the Midnight Mistake. On the dark night of August 9th, the shadows were so thick that friends and enemies looked the same. The colonists attacked. But they were wrong. They opened fire on their own strongest allies, the Croatoans. That night, they didn't just kill people. They destroyed their last hope of survival. This wasn't a war. It was an irreversible mistake. Governor John White had to sail back to England for help. 3 years passed. On August 18th, 1590, White finally stepped back onto Roanoke. It was his granddaughter, Virginia Dare's 3rd birthday. He brought gifts, but where there should have been celebration, there was only silence. The entire settlement was empty. No people, no bodies. And the strangest part, the houses were not destroyed. They were carefully, systematically dismantled. These people didn't run. They planned their disappearance. Now, listen closely. Croatoan was the name of a local Native American tribe, and their nearby island, located 50 miles away. John White had left instructions: if they relocated, carve the name of the destination. If they were in danger, add a cross symbol. But there was no cross, only the word Croatoan. This means they left by choice. But if they reached their friends safely, why did they never return? Why was no trace of them ever found again? Scientific evidence now suggests a severe drought gripped the area between 1587 and 1589. But in 2011, another truth emerged. Under a secret paper patch on one of John White's old maps, a hidden symbol was found, an X marking a secret fort. This location is now known as Site X. There are also the Dare stones, stones allegedly carved by Eleanor Dare, John White's daughter, detailing their capture and struggle. But are they real? Or is it just another layer of the mystery? 4 centuries have passed. 115 souls, erased from history. Only one word remains, Croatoan. Maybe it was a location, maybe a message, or maybe a choice. Think about it. If you had the chance to leave your old life behind, to start over with no record, no trace, would you say no? And if Croatoan wasn't just a place, but a decision, then maybe they didn't just leave their world, they left ours. And maybe the most disturbing truth is they were never meant to be found. What do you think happened to the 115 colonists? Let us know your theories in the comments. If you appreciate this deep dive research, hit the like button. This mystery isn't over. It's still alive, and the next story is even more disturbing. But John White found something else, something that sent a chill down his spine. Among the empty streets, he found heavy iron bars and pieces of armor, completely rusted and overgrown with weeds. These weren't just left behind. They were discarded as if they were useless weight. For soldiers in a hostile land, giving up your armor is a death sentence. It suggests that whatever they were facing, steel and iron could no longer protect them. They didn't just leave their homes, they left their defense. They chose to be vulnerable, or they chose to become someone else entirely. White also checked the secret creek, where he had left several small boats for the colonists' emergency use. They were gone, but not sailed away. He found fragments of wood rotting in the shallow water nearby. It appeared the boats had been smashed to pieces against the rocks. This raises a terrifying question. Did an enemy destroy their only way off the island? Or did the colonists destroy the boats themselves to make sure no one could lose their nerve and try to go back? Was this a colony that decided there was no turning back? In the years that followed, a haunting legend grew among the surrounding tribes, the legend of the white doe. It was said that a beautiful white deer wandered the island, possessing a human-like intelligence and a gaze that seemed to recognize the settlers who came later. Local folklore suggests this was the spirit of Virginia Dare, transformed after the colony fell. While it sounds like a myth, it represents a deep, cultural memory of a child who was lost to the forest, but never truly died. A soul that became part of the land itself. We often forget that John White wasn't the only one who looked for them. For 20 years after their disappearance, several rescue missions were launched. Some captains reported seeing European-style houses and hearing whispers of men who dressed like English, living deep in the interior. But every time a rescue party got close, the trail went cold. It was as if the forest itself was moving the survivors, keeping them just out of reach, ensuring that the lost colony remained exactly that. Lost. There is a darker possibility that many ignore: the Spanish interference. During that time, Spain had a massive network of spies in the Caribbean. They knew about Roanoke, and they saw it as a threat to their gold roots. Some historians believe a Spanish raiding party found the colony before John White could return. They didn't just kill the settlers. They took them as prisoners to the deep south to extract information about England's plans for the New World. It would explain why no bodies were found and why the houses were dismantled with such precision. These people were not lost. They were stolen. And then there are the reported sightings from the 1600s. Years after the colony vanished, explorers in the deep forests of North Carolina reported meeting natives with gray eyes and children with light hair who spoke a broken, ancient form of English. These weren't myths. These were recorded in the journals of men like John Lawson. They described a people who claimed their ancestors could talk out of books. This suggests a slow, cultural fading. where the English heritage was swallowed by the wilderness, until only the color of their eyes remained to tell the story. They didn't vanish. They became the very land they tried to conquer. 4 centuries have passed. 115 souls, erased from history. No graves, no final answers. Only one word remains: Croatoan. And maybe the most disturbing truth is this: they were never meant to be found, because they didn't disappear. They changed, slowly, quietly, until nothing of who they were remained, except the mystery. And if you ever stand where they once stood, remember, you might not be alone. Because some stories don't end, they wait. And the next story we're about to uncover is even darker, even more disturbing, and far more dangerous than Roanoke. So if you think you've seen the truth tonight, you haven't. Not yet.